Der Regen fällt, lange Zeit, neue Welt, die Sonne scheint, denn der Winter kommt, jetzt wieder schneien. Rhythmus der Finger, alles geht vorbei. Was war ich down? Nur am Scheiße bauen. Verfolgungswahn, keinem konnte ich trauen. Hätte ich 1 Euro für jedes Abkacken, wäre ich jetzt in der Villa jeden Tag am Lachen. Was war ich blau? Die Musik baut auf und sieht gleichzeitig runter, und der Hater ist ein Clown. Nirgends Frauen, keine Dates am Haben. Die lachen mich aus, die haben keinen Plan. Keine Seed, wenn du Wurzeln schlägst, doch alles sehen dann, wie du Früchte trägst. Die Liebe ist so, kommt etwas schwer, vor kurzem noch massiv über links erklärt. Auf und ab unter Gottes Hand, hoffentlich wieder bei Verstand. Verworrene Scheiße hinter mir, der Blick von oben, Lichtermeer. Über den Berg, rote Bahn, Richtung Tal, Jodelmann. Wenn du das fühlst, dann heb die Arme, leg zum Beat oder tanz halt an. Weißt du noch, benutzt deinen Kopf, raus aus dem Loch, das ist Hip-Hop, Rock'n'Roll, Metal und Pop, Reggaeton, Strom aus Jefferson. Game over, Midi Wave Classic, willkommen in der Zukunft, wo der Bass ist. Punkt den Shit, wenn du traurig bist, weine nicht, richt die Augen zu mir. Wenn ich 1 Euro für jedes Abkacken, werde ich jetzt in der Villa jeden Tag am Lachen. Wenn ich 1 Euro für jedes Abkacken, werde ich jetzt in der Villa jeden Tag am Lachen. Wenn ich 1 Euro für jedes Abkacken, werde ich jetzt in der Villa jeden Tag am Lachen. Wenn ich 1 Euro für jedes Abkacken, werde ich jetzt in der Villa jeden Tag am Lachen. Guck den Shit, wenn du dich fühlst, wenn dir alles gelingt, ohne Mühen. Erfreu dich an den Blumen, wenn sie blühen, und sag im Sommer dann, es war ein schöner Frühling. Lass mal los, heb den Kopf, sei ganz groß, werd gesehen. Gedanken überall wie der Wind und leben im All, der Verderbnis zu Trotz. Alle wohnt Gutes inne, Gott. Tag und Nacht.
She held out the book to Tom. He went to take it, but Hawksworth, who knew the importance of the evidence, was too quick for them. With an oath, he sprang forward, held Tom back with one hand, and with the other seized the volume and tried to get possession of it. But Josephine clung to it, screaming, and before he could wrest it from her hold, Tom, maddened by the insult and her cries, was at his breast like a wild cat. The fury of the assault took the Irishman by surprise. He staggered against the wall and, alarmed by the girl's shrieks, let the book go. By that time, however, Josephine had had enough of the struggle. The sight of the two locked in furious conflict horrified her. Her grasp relaxed. She let the book fall, and as Hawksworth, recovering from his surprise, gripped her brother's throat and by main force bent him backwards, she fled to the door, opened it, and screamed for help. Fortunately, it was already on the road. Mr. Wallenhope, crying, "Lord, what is it? What is it?" was halfway up the stairs when she appeared, and close on his heels followed his wife with a scared face. Josephine beckoned them to hasten, and wringing her hands flew back. They followed. They found Hawksworth dragging the boy about and striving savagely to force him to the floor. As soon as he saw Wallenhope, he cried with fury, "Will someone take this mad dog off me? He has tried his best to murder me. If I had not been the stronger, he would have done it." Wallenhope, panting with the haste he had made, seized Tom from behind and held him, while Hawksworth disengaged himself. "You'll give me satisfaction for this," the lad cried, gasping and almost blubbering with rage. His wig was gone. So was his cravat. The ruffle of his shirt was torn from top to bottom. Ich frage mich immer, ob native speakers diese Wörter kennen. The other was busy readjusting his dress and staunching the blood that flowed from a cut lip. "Satisfaction, you young booby," he answered with savage contempt. "Send you back to school and whip you. Turn 'em out, Wallenhope. Turn them both out. That devil's cub sprang on me and tried to strangle me. It's lucky for you, sir, I don't send you to Hicks Hall." "Oh Lord, let's have none of that." Wallenhope interposed hastily. "Mine's a respectable house, and there's been noise enough already. A little more and I shall be indicted. March, young sir, if you please, and you too, miss." Tom swelled with fresh rage. "Do you know who I am, fellow?" he cried. "I'd have you to know. I don't want to know," Wallenhope rejoined, cutting him short. "I won't know. It's March, that's all I know, and quick if you please." He continued trying to edge the lad out of the room. "But William," his wife protested, and timidly touched his arm. "It's possible that they may not be in fault. I'm sure the young lady was very well spoken when she came." "None of your advice," her husband retorted. "But William, none of your advice, I say. Do you hear? Do you understand? This gentleman is our lodger. Who the others are, I don't know, nor care. And I don't want to know. That's more." "You'll smart for this," Tom cried, getting in a word at last. He was almost bursting with chagrin and indignation. Verdruss. "I'd have you know, my fine fellow, I am, sir, I don't want to know. I don't care who you are, and for smarting perhaps I may. When you are sober, sir, we'll talk about it. In the meantime, this is my house, and you'll go unless you want me to fetch the constable." "And that mayn't be the best for a young lady, who seems a young lady. I don't suppose she'll like to be taken to the roadhouse, nor run the risk of it. Take my advice, young sir, take my advice, and go quietly while you can." Tom, half choked with rage, was retorting, but Josephine, who had quite broken down and was weeping hysterically, clutched his arm. "Oh, come," she cried piteously, "please come." And she tried to draw him towards the door, but the lad resisted. "You'll answer to me for this," he said, scowling at Hawksworth, who remained in an attitude, eyeing the two with a smile of disdain. "You know where to find me, and I shall be at your service until tomorrow at noon." "I'll find you when you are grown up," the Irishman answered with a mocking laugh. "But to your books, boy, you'll be whipped for playing truant." Schlauberger? Schulschwänzer. The taunt stung Tom to fresh fury. With a scream of rage, he sprang forward and, shaken off Wallenhope's grasp, tried to close with his enemy. But Josephine hung on him bravely, imploring him to be calm, and Wallenhope seized him again and held him back, while Mrs. Wallenhope supplied for assistance and chorus of shrieks. Between the three, he was partly led and partly dragged to the floor and got outside. From the landing, he hurled a last threat at the smiling Hawksworth, now left master of the field, and then with a little rough persuasion he was induced to descend. Das ist sehr gut. In the passage he had, sagt man das? Nee, he had. He had a fresh fit of stubbornness and wished to state his wrongs in who he was. But Josephine's heart was pitifully set on escaping from the house, and the landlord's desire was to see the last of them, and in a moment the two were outside. Wellenhope lost not a moment, but slammed the door on them. They heard a chain put up, and an instant later the man's retreating footsteps as he went back to his lodger. If Tom had been alone when he was thus ejected, it is probable that his first impulse would have been either to press his forehead against the wall and weep with rage, or to break the offender's windows, 18 being an age at which the emotions are masters of the man. But the noise of the fracas within. So weiß jetzt ein Ami, wenn ich das lese, was fracas bedeutet? Aufruhr. Though dulled by the walls had reached the streets, a window here and a window there stood open, and curious eyes, peering through the darkness, were on the two who had been put out. Tom was too angry to heed these on his own account, or care who was witness of his violence, but for Josephine's sake, who stayed as she clung to his arm, began to appeal to his manhood. He was willing to be gone without more. After shaking his fist at the door, therefore, and uttering a furious word or two, he pressed the weeping girl's hand to his side. "All right," he said. "We'll go. It'll not be long before I'm back again, and they'll be sorry. A house full of cheats and bullies. There, child, I'll come. Don't cry." He continued, patting her hand with an air that, after the reverse he had suffered, was not without its grandeur. "I'll take care of you, never fear. I've rooms a little way round the corner taken today, and you shall have my bed. It's too late to go to Arlington Street tonight." Josephine, sobbing and frightened, hung down her head and did not answer, and Tom, forgetting in his wrath against Hawksworth the cause he had to be angry with her, said nothing to increase her misery or aggravate her sense of the folly she had committed. Das duftet ja. Torheit. Es kommt Fool von Folly. His lodgings were in Clark's Row, a little north of Shepherd's Market, and almost within a stone's throw of Mayfair Chapel. 4 minutes' walking brought the two to the house, where Tom rapped in a peculiar manner at the window shutter. When this had been twice repeated, the door was opened grudgingly by a pale-faced elderly man bearing a lighted candle end in his fingers. He muttered his surprise on seeing Tom, but made way for him, grumbling something about the late hour. When he saw the girl about to follow, however, he started and seemed to be going to refuse her entrance. But Tom was of those who carry off by sheer force of arrogance a difficult situation. "My sister, Miss Maitland, is with me. He said, "She'll have my room tonight. Don't stare, fellow, but hold the light for the lady to go up." The man's reluctance was evident, but he let them enter, and barred the door after them. Then, snuffing his candle with his fingers, he held it up and surveyed them. "By gol, you don't look much like bride and bridegroom." Tom stormed at him. "You've been fighting," he said. Stormed at him, but he continued to grin. "You've been fighting," he said. "Well, what's that to you, you rogue?" the lad answered sharply. "Light the lady up, do you hear? To be sure, to be sure. But you'll be wanting a light in each room," he continued with cunning look, as he halted at the head of a narrow boarded staircase up which he had preceded them. "That's over and above. You remember. Candles here and candles there. Man's soon ruined." Tom bade him keep a civil tongue, and himself led the way into a quaint little three-cornered parlour, boarded like the staircase. Beyond it was a bedroom of the same shape and size. The rooms had a small window apiece looking on the row, and wore an air of snugness that would have appealed to Josephine had her eyes been open to anything but her troubles. Against the longer wall of the little parlour stood a couple of tall clocks. A third acte verlängern, vergrößern. Eked. Eek. Eek. A third eked out the scanty furniture of the bedroom, and others, ticking with stealthy industry in the lower part of the house, whispered that it was a clockmaker's shop. Josephine cared not. She felt no curiosity. She put no questions, but accepted in silence the dispositions her brother made for her comfort. Bruised and broken, fatigued in body, with a sorely aching heart, she took the room he gave her. Sleep offering all she could now hope for or look for. Sleep bounding all her ambitions. In sleep she hoped to find a refuge from trouble, a shelter from thought, a haven where shame could not enter. To one in suspense, in doubt, in expectation, bed is a rack, a place of torture. But when the blow has fallen, the lot been drawn, the dulled sensibilities sink to rest in it as naturally as a bird in the nest, and as quickly find response. She slept as one stunned, but weak is the anodyne of a single night. Beruhigend, kraftlos. She awoke in the morning, cured indeed of love by radical operation, but still bleeding, still in fancy under the cruel knife, still writhing in remembered torture. To look forward, to avert her eyes from the past, was her sole hope, and speedily her mind grew clear. The future began to take shape. She would make use of Tom's good offices, and through him she would negotiate terms with her sister. She could not go back to Arlington Street, but any penance, Penen, Buße, short of that, she would undergo. If it pleased them, she would go to Chalk Hill, or in any other way that seemed good to them. She would expiate the foolish, and worse than foolish escapade of which she had been guilty. Expiate. büßen. Hä, der war doch so. Penance und Expiate heißt beides büßen. And life henceforth could be but a grey and joyless thing. Provided she escaped the sneers and gibes of Arlington Street. Boah. Gibes. Gibes. Sticheleien. She cared little where it was spent. She was anxious to broach the subject at breakfast. Breakfast. But through a natural reluctance to open it, she postponed the discussion as long as she dared. It was not like Tom to be over-careful of her feelings, but he too appeared to be equally unwilling to revert to past unpleasantness. He fidgeted and seemed preoccupied. He rose frequently and sat down again. More than once he went to the window and looked out. At last he rose impulsively and disappeared in the bedroom. By and by he returned. He was still in his morning cap and loose wrapper, but he carried a shirt over each arm. "Which ruffles do you like the better, Josie?" he asked, and he displayed one after the other before her eyes. "Of course, I'd like to look my best today," he added shamefacedly. She stared at him, in perplexity at first, not understanding him, then in horror, as she discerned on a sudden what he meant. Today? She thought, why today, Tom? More than on other days? His face fell. Ist odd. To want to look on one's best to be married? At any rate, I never thought so until yesterday. He added with a glance at her dress. She was sitting on the narrow window seat. She stood up, her back to the window. To be married? Oh, Tom, it is impossible. Impossible you intend to go on with it. After all you have heard. His face grew darker and more sullen. At any rate, I'm not going to marry Hawksworth, he sneered. And then, as she winced under the cruel stroke, he repented of it. I only mean, he said hurriedly, that I don't see what he and his villainy have to do with my marriage. But, oh, Tom, it is all one, Josephine cried, clasping her hands nervously. He was with her. When you met her, I heard you say last night. I heard you say that if it had not been for him, you would never have seen her or known her. Well, Tom answered, and what of that? If her chase had not broken down, I should never have seen her or known her. That is true, too. But what has that to do with it? I'd like to know. Well, I'd like to know. He planned it. He could not plan my falling in love, Tom answered, stroking his chin fatuously. But if you had seen the book, Josephine retorted, the book he snatched from me, you would have seen it written there. His plan was to procure you to be married first. You know, you forfeit £10,000 to me, Tom, and 10 to Anna, if you marry without your guardian's consent. Hang them. And the 10,000, Tom cried. Lord, miss, I've plenty left. You are welcome to it, and so is sister. As for their consent, they'd not give it till I was Methuselah. But surely you're not that yet. No, not nor near. You are only 18. Well, and what are you? And you were for being married yesterday. I was. And to what a fate. I'm unhappy today, unhappy indeed. But I shall be thankful all my life that I escaped that. Oh, Tom, for my sake, take care. Don't do it. Don't do it. Wait, at least until I'm Methuselah, he cried. It's likely. No, but until you have taken advice, till you know more about her. Tom, don't be angry, Josephine pleaded as he turned away with an impatient gesture. Or if you will not be guided, tell me at least who she is. I'm your sister. Surely I have the right to know. Who is to be your wife? I'm sure I don't mind your knowing. I have only your interests at heart, she cried. I have no reason to be ashamed of her, I'm sure. Though I don't know that she is altogether one of your sort, she is the most beautiful woman in the world that I know. And so you will say when you see her, he added, his eyes sparkling. She has as much wit in her little finger as I have in my head. And you'll find that out too. She don't look at most people, but she took to me at once. It seems wonderful to me. Now, wonderful, but you should see her. You must see her. You can't fancy what she is until you see her. It was on the tip of Josephine's tongue to ask, but is she good? Like a wise girl, however, she refrained. Or rather, she put the question in another form. Her name, she said timidly. Is it by any chance Oriana? Tom was pacing the room, his back to her, his thoughts occupied with his mistress' charms. He whirled about so rapidly that the tassels of the morning wrapper, at that period the only wear of a gentleman until he dressed for the day, flew out level with the horizon. How did you know? He cried, his face flushed, his eyes reading her suspiciously. Who told you?